Um, our habit was be proactive. The subject I decided to talk about was dog training, which is a social and educational example of being proactive. My goal was to train my dog to follow my commands. 4 years ago, I decided to buy a puppy, and like most puppies, they need to be trained. Me being the owner, I was responsible for the dog, therefore I wanted to train her to follow the commands that I preferred her to learn, which were sit, shake, stand, go to the bathroom outside, not in the house, walk with me without a leash, stay in her yard unattended and unleashed, be friendly to people and other animals. I trained her using discipline, examples being scolding, ignoring her, and through my voice tone. Also through reward, which were treats, attention, and praise. It took about 1.5 years for her to learn all of this. Much work from both ends, mine and hers. And this was an example of proactive teaching on my end because my desired goal was achieved. But not only was I teaching my dog and her being the learner, but our roles reciprocated, and while I was teaching her commands, she was teaching me patience, persistence, and self-control.
Which is very valuable, which is what I want to talk about when I instruct children, precisely teenagers. I did driver's education, and my goal was to make people safe drivers, not just for themselves, but for everyone that does use the roadway. With me, my proactive approach was that I had 6 one-hour lessons to help them achieve as much as I could. So for each lesson, we would start with a review of what was done beforehand, we would move on to new materials, and at the end, cover what was good and what was bad. By leading by example, showing them how it's done, and then also reinforcing the good and the bad, it turns out pretty well for them. And what I get out of it is the satisfaction knowing that I'm helping the other people. And then as that translated into my job, I also received my paycheck, and it was a complete satisfaction.
Well, that kind of leads into my work, being proactive. Many jobs that I've had, when I get there, nothing is right, nothing works well, the clients aren't happy, the customers aren't happy, and we have to fix a lot of mistakes before we can actually be proactive. One of the things that I decided to do in my new career was be proactive before we had to be reactive. What I do now is try to figure out what the problems are going to be when an issue comes up and educate the rest of my staff on what we can do to make this an easier transition for the clients or the members, as well as soon as we know something is going to happen or something's going to change, we educate our members and clients so we can expect their phone calls, we can expect their emails, and pretty much everybody's on the same track at the same time rather than having a horrendous overflow of phone calls and emails about something that you weren't even prepared for and we weren't prepared to answer. Kind of simple, but sometimes it's such a stress reliever to not have to go in and fix all the problems before you can actually start.
And with proactivity, you can see it applies to all aspects of life, whether it's a personal situation, a work-related thing, or just something where you want to help someone else. And that is what being proactive is all about.